I'm Mike Jamieson, and I'm the historian of the Peninsula Golf and Country Club. The Peninsula Golf and Country Club was founded as the Beresford Country Club in 1911. The club was founded by prominent Jewish families of San Francisco. In 1911, there was discrimination against Jewish families in the San Francisco area, and the Jewish people who wanted to join clubs in the area found that they could not join other clubs. So, using their initiative, they purchased land, started their own club in the country, San Mateo, and started the Beresford Country Club. The original golf course was designed by Thomas Bendelow and then redesigned in 1922 by Donald Ross. The reworking of the golf course by Donald Ross in 1922 has to this day become one of the most important events of the history of the club. Donald Ross was a preeminent designer and was named the Architect of the Century. The club paid an astounding $4,000 for Donald Ross to redesign the Peninsula Golf and Country Club, Beresford Country Club. To this day, the Peninsula Country Club remains the only Donald Ross designed golf course on the West Coast. In the year 2001 and 2003, the club spent $7 million to completely restore the original Donald Ross design. And it has found great favor with Donald Ross devotees. By the end of the decade of the 1930s, the club was in decline. Remember that the club had originally been founded by Jewish families in 1911 who had been unable to join other clubs because of Jewish discrimination. Two of the important members of the time, Helen Langfeld and Ben Follett, traveled around to older members of the time and bought up memberships for $1. They decided that the club needed a rebirth and invited many local townspeople and local people from San Mateo to join the club. These were people who were not Jewish, and the design and idea was to reopen the Beresford Country Club and to try and make the club survive. The date chosen was the 30-year anniversary of the original signing of the Articles of Incorporation. A grand party was developed. There was golf, there was tennis, there was a picnic. Unfortunately, the date that was chosen was December 7th, 1941. The golfers were out on the golf course, and they came in when the news broadcasts that there had been a bombing at Pearl Harbor. Nobody joined the club. Just a year later, there were only 22 regular members of the Peninsula or Beresford Country Club at the time. Somehow the club survived. And in 1945, the club did finally change its name from Beresford to the Peninsula Club, and it survives to this day. The Peninsula Club's best known members is a man by the name of George Archer. George Archer grew up in San Mateo as a caddy. He caddied at the Peninsula Golf and Country Club and went to San Mateo High School. He learned his craft putting at the Peninsula Golf and Country Club, and when he finally turned professional, his first sponsor was a man by the name of Gene Selvage, who was the president of Lucky Brewing, a beer company in San Francisco. George did make a successful career of being a professional golfer. His first tournament win was the Lucky Open, which was held at Harding Park in 1965. George's most significant win as a professional was the 1969 Masters Championship. He's the only person in Northern California history to have won the Masters. In honor of that accomplishment, the Peninsula Club awarded him an honorary membership, which George had and used until his death in the 2000s. But the story doesn't end there. After his death, George's wife, Donna, came public with the news that George had been illiterate. He had spent his entire life unable to read or write simple sentences. He had kept this secret from all of his friends, and only his intimate family knew that secret. His wife Donna started a small foundation to grant scholarships for literacy to teach children to read and write. The Peninsula Club embraced this, and to this day there have been 3 tournament fundraisers held at the Peninsula Golf and Country Club, and over $160,000 has been raised in just 3 short years, and money has been given to the Charles Armstrong School and to the San Mateo Public Library, and many children have benefited from the literacy funds that have been raised. As the club moved into the 1990s, it faced many of the problems that clubs that were in the 70 or 80-year-old period faced. A clubhouse that was old, a golf course that was old. So, unlike some of the other clubs, the Peninsula Club got moving. Faced with a decision on what to do with a clubhouse that had been built in 1914, a large reconstruction project was developed, and the historic building was completely redone, and then a few years later a complete restoration job of the golf course was done. This included a state-of-the-art drainage plan. Both of these projects and the construction of a new pro shop meant that the club spent over $16 million in improvements. The membership, with thoughtful discussion, did approve these projects. And today, because the club was a little bit ahead of the curve, it does not face many of the other problems that other clubs have. One of the things that makes Peninsula Club a little bit different than some of the other clubs is that Peninsula has always been a club that has welcomed children and families. Some private clubs in America today are men only, or are women only, or do not welcome family members. Peninsula Club has always welcomed families, and today they have an active swim program, active junior golf program, active tennis programs, active social programs, and in all of these cases family members are encouraged to participate. This has allowed the club to weather financial storms better than some other clubs that are perhaps more niche clubs. It has enabled the club to thrive where others are suffering a little bit more in this economy.